How is Jackson Arnold picking up the offense? We make some way too early record predictions. And how does Auburn basketball finish off this roster with their open scholarship spots? It's time for another barn takeover.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Happy Thursday. It's time for another barn takeover. We haven't done one in a while. There's been so much news every single day, it seemed, from the portal, and then obviously the NCAA tournament and basketball season getting wrapped up that we haven't been able to do one in a while. But hey, we're opening the mailbag up to the barn. I've picked out the 4 best questions, and we are going to dive in and have some fun. We're going to talk about Jackson Arnold and the offense. We're going to make some record predictions, and we're going to talk some hoops as well. So buckle up and get ready. We're going to get after it here in just a second. But before we do that, we got to give a shout out to mybookie.ag. Use coupon code BARN, B-A-R-N, for a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Give them $100. They're going to give you 50 back to play with. Absolutely free. Hit that sports book. Take the free play. Win big. Easy deposits. Easy withdrawals. It's mybookie.ag. Without further ado, let's dive into the first question. You might remember Cambo, one of our first Friendship Friday guests, did a great job. Any word on how Jackson Arnold, has been picking up the offense? There's been some discussion, back and forth with Auburn fans, I guess, ever since last season, and you saw some of the struggles and the decision-making issues with Peyton Thorne, and questions sort of revolved around the offense and how difficult the offense is. Does Hugh ask too much of his quarterbacks? Things like that. And so it's very natural to want to know exactly how Jackson is picking up the offense. If you remember back during football season, I think it was after maybe the Cal game or one of the games where we threw a bunch of interceptions. I think it's actually the Arkansas game. I had Tyler Siskey on, who was a staffer for Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss, and he constantly talked about how easy this offense is. We've never had this happen before. I've never seen this before. These type of issues, these type of decision-making issues, sort of making it seem like, hey, this is not hard stuff. Well, I've talked to a couple of people, and it's funny that he asked this just within a recent amount of time, like, I don't know, maybe within the last 2 weeks. Some folks that I'm close with had some discussions with Jackson, and I think this was one of the questions that was asked directly. Hey, man, how's the offense? How's it been picking up the offense? And he kind of smirked and smiled and just said, hey, it's not that hard. This offense is not that hard to pick up. Something along those lines, sort of reinforcing the fact that it's really not super difficult stuff. It's probably why you saw the Eagles. The Eagles went to they started calling more RPO plays to help simplify things for Jalen Hurts. And what do? They won a Super Bowl. Now it helps to have a guy like Saquon Barkley back there at running back and an elite athlete like Jalen Hurts. I'm sure that probably helps, because otherwise it may be kind of tough just to run that basic offense in the NFL. But for college, it's perfect. It's read and react. It's numbers, it's decisions. But I keep beating this dead horse. But you heard Bo Wallace say you can throw for 3,000 yards on run plays in this offense. It's just not a difficult offense to run. So Jackson acknowledging that, and then you just see, his history with that type of offense, loving Jeff Lebby, having a lot of, working a lot of RPO in high school, going to sign with a more RPO vertical based offense, at Ole Miss under Jeff Lebby, and then coming here, and obviously it's the same type stuff. Those are the kind of things you want to hear. You want to hear, hey, I got it. It's not that hard. What you've heard in the past is just not true. We've picked it up easily. And then that kind of coincides with the great spring that you feel like you heard a lot of stuff about Jackson succeeding and making big plays, and the videos you've seen, and there's just stuff we talked about. Overall, everybody seems pretty excited about Jackson in general. Now, I know simple can have negative connotation to it as well, but this is strictly when we're talking about simple, it's understanding the concepts. In other words, I got it. I got it now. I got it figured out. It wasn't that hard to figure this off, how to execute this offense from a quarterback standpoint. Doesn't make it easy. Doesn't mean simple, for the defense to figure out. So, love to know your thoughts there. I think things are going pretty well on that side of the ball from the Jackson Arnold camp. So let's go to the second one. These are always fun. Way too early record predictions for football and basketball. I've been on a couple of shows and talked about football, and I don't think this is a very controversial take. I feel like out of Auburn's 12 games, I think Auburn will have a more talented roster than 9 out of the 12 teams. And there could be an argument for 10. It depends on how you value Texas A&M's roster. So I think Auburn should be able to match up talent for talent with at least 9 to 10 teams out of this schedule, talent-wise. Now, last year, I know Auburn was deficient in talent in some critical positions, but last year I felt like Auburn was probably more talented than a majority of the roster, at least 7 or 8 teams on the roster. So talent doesn't necessarily always yield wins. With that being said, I'm just looking at the roster. If Auburn can start off with a win at Baylor, and if they can split Texas A&M and Oklahoma, I think they have a really good shot to win 9 games. Maybe playing for, something against Alabama with the game on the line, with the, possibly playoff implications on the line. That would be epic. I think that's where, honestly, a lot of people close to Auburn feel they're looking somewhere in that 9-win range. Got to win that first one. And to me, you got to go to Oklahoma, and you got to go to Texas A&M, College Station. You got to split those. If you can win both, obviously that's great, but you got to win one of them. Feels like Oklahoma may be the best opportunity to win just because of everything they've lost and the complete restructure they're having to do. That might be the best chance to win. Not really sure about Texas A&M. Texas A&M to me is just such a wild card. They're such a wild card team. They've always been. It feels like they're always in playoff talk and then they melt down. Are they stronger at the beginning of the season? They are. I think they're typically pretty strong in the middle of the season. They always have some early season, slip ups, and we're going to play them, right on the front end of the middle of that season. So you're probably catching them at peak. So if you can win one of those 2 games and just handle business, I think you got a really good shot to win 9 games. My prediction is 9. So that's what I'm going with. Basketball, complete rebuild. I mean, there could not be more. You could not have a bigger rebuild than what Bruce is having to do. I mean, in theory, you're only bringing back one guy. And that is not even a 100% guarantee. It's about a 90, maybe 95% guarantee, but it's not even a 100% guarantee. So, look, Final Fours are incredibly rare, I think. Auburn's had 2 in the last, 5 or 6 years. So, expecting to just return right back to the Final Four after completely flipping the roster, I think is completely crazy to expect. Now, it wouldn't shock me if it happened, but what I'm looking at is probably something in the realm of, 25, 26 total wins, somewhere around like, I don't know, 25 or 26 and uh let's just go with that. Let's just say somewhere around like 25 wins, somewhere around, 10, 12, 11 wins in conference, 12 and 6, 11 and 8, or 11 and 7, something like that, and maybe be a 4 or 5 seed. I think that would be a fantastic year. And this is going to be a completely different type team. So, what does that look like? Now, we do have a really, really good group of, I think, a really good group of scorers. I think we have a chance to have some really good scoring guards and full small forwards and things like that. Like, for example, Elijah Freeman is on some lists. He's your D2 guy from Lincoln Memorial College or whatever. Elijah Freeman's on some lists of being like one and done prospects, D2 one and done prospects. I think he's mega underrated. Abdul Bashir, very, very pure scorer. Just how can he adjust on the defensive side? And then obviously Keyshawn Hall, we're not talking about Keyshawn Hall enough. He is a superstar. He could play 2 through 4. It's going to be you're going to have some opportunities to have a lot of scoring on the floor, very similar to last season. It's hard to predict because it's all brand new players. So if you can give me 12, if I can get 12 SEC wins, somewhere in the neighborhood of, 26 to 28 overall wins, something like that, I think that would be a phenomenal season, especially if you can get, 4 or 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. And then next year, a lot of these guys can, possibly come back. I mean, you got the makings of another maybe deep run in the tournament. And it's hard to say these guys come back because you just never know. You could have a Chad Baker Mazar situation, but hopefully not. Still got to get Tahad back. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. All right, guys, before we jump into some hoops questions, let's give a quick shout out to Roback.com. Go to Roback.com, use coupon code BUTTON20 to take 20% off your order. You like hoodies, you like polos, shorts, pullovers, anything like that, show them some love and save big. Go to Roback.com. Definitely take advantage of that coupon code and save big. Roback.com. And then if you need a good real estate agent in the area, the Auburn, Opelika area, hit me up. You can message me on Twitter, message me on Instagram, email me at krush@thekeyagency.realestate. I'd love to help you and your family either buy, build, sell, or invest in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County. Doesn't matter. Love to help. Give me a shout. We'll be back right after this. All right, next question. Brian Beatty, tell me why I shouldn't be worried about us having 2 open spots on our basketball roster, maybe 3, kind of concerned. Understand, currently, if you include Tahad, you have 10 spots out of 13. Now, Bruce rarely carries 13 scholarships. When I say 13 scholarships, I mean bringing in 13 guys on scholarship. Usually that 13th scholarship is used for a walk-on. So I don't necessarily see much of a concern there. So you're looking to bring in. I mean, let me just make sure on this. You got Tahad Pettiford, Caden Magwood, Abdul Bashir, Simon Walker. That's 4. Kevin Overton 5. Elijah Freeman 6. Keyshawn Hall 7. Sebastian William Adams 8. Yeah, Keyshawn Murphy 9. Emeka Apurum 10. So you got 10 spots. You're looking to bring in maybe 1 or 2 more. You got James Scott, who is a Louisville forward, who there is a lot of buzz around in the portal right now. 6'11", 220. He's supposed to be coming to a visit per Justin Hokanson this weekend. And from people that I've talked to, and then obviously from Hoke as well. It seems like there's a lot of confidence in this guy possibly being added to the roster. So that gives you 11. Again, it's getting harder and harder with the way NIL is to just be able to pack in your roster fully, like fill out all your scholarships in football and basketball. So I don't think there's anything necessarily to be concerned about. You're probably pretty close to adding your 11th. What do they do with that 12th? I have no idea. Do they give both to walk-ons? Not sure. Not sure, but I don't think there's anything necessarily to be concerned about now, and I really don't think there's anything to be concerned about Tahad. Now, those words could come back to bite me. There's nothing is ever impossible, but it does feel like it's going to be tough for him to get high enough, even if he gets some first-round projections, like a couple of teams saying, hey, we may be looking at you, towards the end of the first round. Even that is scary because you slide. If one person falls incorrectly, you could slide into the second round, and now you're fighting for a roster spot when you can make seven figures in college next year, guaranteed. So I still think a lot of momentum is in the direction of Tahad coming back to Auburn. So I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. Crossfire X. Do we have an update on a possible 2-guard/point guard being added to the roster? Or, as Bruce alluded to, are we just looking to get another big man? Look, let me preface this by saying this. There's not many people that I would trust my life with more than Bruce Pearl. Okay, so typically, if Bruce Pearl says something, if Bruce Pearl goes in a direction, I'm rarely going to question it. I mean, the results are there. It's kind of hard to question the success that he's had and have really any doubts about decisions that he makes, because typically they end up pretty well for Auburn. So, but with that being said, I mean, I've been nervous a little bit about ball handling in general. Like, what are we going to do if, Tahad gets in foul trouble, or, Tahad's played 35 minutes, game after game after game, or heaven forbid, what if Tahad gets injured? Really, your only primary ball handlers you'd have left are, Caden Magwood. Abdul Bashir could probably run some point at times if he needed to. But man, after that, it's really scary. Your shooting guards that are like true shooting guards, you got Abdul Bashir, and then you got Simon Walker, who's a true freshman, who they love, who I think can be a sharpshooter, but I think he's more of at the next level, I think he's probably going to be more of a set shooter. He could be maybe kind of tough for him to be a primary ball handler, straight out of high school. And then Caden Magwood's electric, but again, it's a freshman coming in. So I've had the same concerns about, hey, should we be looking at another guard? But again, golly, that'd be 4 guards you have that, between that 1 and 2. It's hard. It's a tough sell to get anybody that you'd even feel comfortable with filling that role, filling that void. So if Todd's healthy and he's playing, 33, 35 minutes a game, you really don't need that much time. The only issue you would have is if he were to possibly get in foul trouble and have to sit out, extended minutes, or, obviously an injury. So I get your concern, but I think right now the focus is on adding another big man, and I think that seems like there's a lot of momentum with James Scott, who people say is vastly underrated. People say I think Tipton is very, very high. Tipton's very high on this guy. He played 23 minutes a game last year as a sophomore at Louisville and averaged 7 and 6 in 23 minutes. It's pretty solid. and about 1.5 blocks a game. And he's a very, very efficient scorer. Not great from the line, which we're used to, but very, very efficient scorer inside. And I think that's what you're looking for. Somebody that we're not looking for a super duper skilled Janai Broome big guy. We need somebody that can play defense, block shots, get rebounds, and put the ball in the basket when they get it in close range. I think that's what you're looking for. But yeah, I do have some concerns, just like you. But if Bruce says we're good, I'm good. I don't question it. I think we'll be just fine. So another great barn takeover. Let me know what your thoughts are on each one of those. How do you feel about Jackson and the offense? How do you feel about the record predictions? What are your record predictions? Basketball scholarships, how would you divvy the last couple out? And are you satisfied with the ball handling guards? Do we need another one? Or, hey, just bring in another big man? Or is it, hey, I'll go with whatever Bruce says, kind of like me. So let me know what you think in the comments. Guys, I really appreciate it. If you want to be a part of the barn, just sign up today. Go to thebarnauburn.com, take $25 off your annual membership, and you can submit your questions. And, hey, Friendship Friday's a little bit up in the air. We had someone scheduled. He's got life happens. Got some scheduling issues. We'll get him back in the queue. So we'll see about tomorrow, Friendship Friday. Should be able to get somebody. So those have been a hit every single time. So we'll see what happens. But, guys, thanks for listening. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.